It's recognition for Metates. We've told the market that it's one of the largest silver deposits globally, a large endowment over 500 million ounces, and finally we're getting recognition for that.
Hello and welcome to the Assay TV. Today I'm here with Jean-Paul Tsotsos, Interim CEO at Chesapeake Gold Corp. And we're here at the One-to-One Mining Investment in New York event. So Jean-Paul, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's kick it off. Can you give us an introduction to Chesapeake Gold?
Yeah, so Chesapeake is an interesting company. Chesapeake actually has three important assets in it. The first is a 19 million ounce gold deposit with another 500 million ounces of silver. And that's our Metates deposit. And that's in Durango, Mexico. And that's really our flagship deposit. That's at PEA stage. And we've been advancing it towards a pre-feasibility. The second asset in the company is the technology. It's proprietary technology. And what it does is it takes refractory gold and it's able to oxidize it in a heap leach environment. So then it becomes an oxide deposit that we can recover the gold and precious metals at much higher recovery rates. And then the final asset is a brand new discovery called Lucy, which is a high-grade deposit near surface.
Okay, sounds great. So let's start off by looking a little bit deeper at the Lucy project. So back in February, you released some pretty impressive 97% gold recoveries.
Yeah.
So can you go into some more detail about those numbers?
Yeah, so just a little bit about Lucy. So Lucy's actually in Sinaloa. It's in a great location. It's 5 kilometers from a highway. There's dirt roads going right to site. There's power lines nearby. So the infrastructure is well established. And Lucy, the story how it goes is, back 2018, 2019, we picked up the property and we did a bunch of channel sampling on the rocks there. And we were getting something like 40 meters of 4.4 grams gold. And so we went back last year, we drilled 8 holes. Every one of those holes hit mineralization rate from surface. And we were getting 6 grams over 24 meters on the far western hole. Far eastern hole, 4 grams over 24 meters. And right down the center, we had 20 meters of 2 grams. So those really good grades right at surface. And then the question was, do I need the technology in order to get the gold? And so we went and actually took whole holes, 4 composites, 4 holes, and we sent it off to SGS to actually get an idea of what the metallurgy looks like. Bottle roll tests with cyanide, within the first 24 hours, we're achieving up 97% gold recovery. And so that's an important achievement because we know we don't need the technology. It's straight up oxide deposit with the grades that we have. It could be an open pit underground, or it could even be a CIP or a CIL plant to actually recover the gold, which is a much different process than we have at Metates and with the technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what are some of the next steps for advancement at Lucy? Yeah,
so on the back of the update on the recoveries, we're actually running another program. So we're doing another 900 meters of drilling. The great thing about the deposit, we've already defined 500 meters strike length, and we've only got about the first 25 meters below surface of actually hitting the mineralization. So the program that we're doing now is to the east. We have additional trench samples that we've taken, but we don't have drilling. So we're going to drill off in that area. And then we have trench samples along the main corridor. And as we move back to the other 500 meters, we're drilling holes to the south and to the north in order to get an understanding of where it's dipping underground. Right, so that's basically in an area where we know where the mineralization is and getting a better understanding of extending it. But then where we don't know, we're actually going to be doing geochem samples, so taking soil samples. And through doing that, you can actually see where the gold is at surface, and we can continue to define where the mineralization is to the western side of the deposit. We're also doing mag geophysics, and then finally mapping. And so once we have that information, we can then go drill where we've hit gold at surface with the geochem sampling and continue to expand out the footprint.
All right, sounds great. Well, certainly a lot to kind of keep in touch with about the Lucy project. So Chesapeake got added to NASDAQ earlier this year.
That's correct.
And so how has this impacted the company?
Yeah, so first and foremost, it's recognition for Metates. We've told the market that it's one of the largest silver deposits globally, a large endowment over 500 million ounces. And finally, we're getting recognition for that. And so being added to the silver index basically collaborates what we're saying. It also gives us additional visibility in the market for research, for other investment groups, institutional groups that are focused on silver. So it's great recognition. It also means that we're trading much more. So obviously the index is trading in us, but then more people are finding out about us and trading more. So our volumes have actually increased and our liquidity as well. So it's been very positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And so another positive note, gold has been doing exceptionally well recently. So do you see these kind of soaring prices continuing through the rest of the year?
Yeah, so I'm quite optimistic. So I would believe in, not the if or when, right? It's not if the gold price is going to go up even further. It's when is the gold price going to go up further. And we see both in Canada and Australia, for example, that the internal debt rate of households is much greater than the GDP. So it gives you an idea of how tight the market really is. And if we're able to keep the market where it is with the interest rates at this high levels, it's going to be very taxing on the people and also taxing on the companies that have gotten loans that are rolling off. And so my expectation is that we are going to start seeing interest rates drop. And the minute that happens, historically, every time that happens, gold price takes off. And so we've seen the first steps of that. We've also seen that geopolitically, globally, that there's a lot of turmoil happening. And there's also lots of the countries picking up gold, like China and India, to basically backstop their currency. And so my expectation is for gold to continue to stay where it is or even get higher as the year progresses.
There were some debates yesterday in the gold panel whether it would hit kind of the 2,700, 3,000 moving forward in the year.
Yeah. So I joked with someone earlier that I was like, we're going to hit 2,500 this year. And they're like, oh, no way, that will never happen. But interesting enough, we've surpassed 2,400.
Yeah.
And I would say this is a new low, not 2,400, but up in the 2000s, this is a new low. This is a new foundational move. And as you get into the larger numbers, the percentage to move up higher is actually a lot smaller, right? So to go from 2,400 to 2,500, the move is much less than it was from getting from 500 to 600. Right? And so the ability for metal prices to move going forward, I think there's no problem getting into 2,800.
All right, absolutely. And so, how well is Chesapeake funded for the second half of 2024?
Yeah, so that's another asset within the company that's kind of separate. We actually have $16 million in the bank account, so we're well funded. The work that we're doing both on the metallurgy and on the exploration is quite low. Our burn rate average over the last few years has been about $5 million a year. So we have a good run rate to continue to advance all three projects and to be able to do that with our own funding internally.
Sounds great. And then to wrap it up, any key milestones that you want to highlight for our investors?
Yeah, so on the metallurgical side, we're continuing to do work in the background. We're going to have updates on that. At Lucy, the exploration program I highlighted to you, we're expecting to have results out for that as well. And then finally, the last part is about a week ago, we announced that we acquired the underlying patents and portfolio and the license that's actually for our technology. So once that closes, all of that will be internal to Chesapeake.
All right, great. Well, we'll have to catch up again once you have more to share with us. So Jean-Paul, thanks for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me, Amy.
Thanks.